What is going on today, guys? We're going to be talking about the Twilight Cup that is running in February through the Silph League Arena, or silph.gg. We'll have the link in the description. You can check it out and everything. So your local group will be running this. So what is, if you don't know a whole lot about it, you can run basically dark types, poison, fairy, and then ghost. So those are the options of what you have. What I want to do in this video today is kind of give you some of the budget options for those. Just so you know, there are some budget options. These may not be the greatest in any of them, but if you need to fill a spot and you don't want to spend a lot of Stardust or anything powering something up, these are some options for you that do perform well in the Great League and in this Twilight Cup. Keep in mind, with the rework, there have been, with the rework from moveset expansions and also damage output, energy gain, that kind of stuff, it did change a lot of what's going in the Twilight Cup and made it a lot more complicated. So I think we're going to see a lot more people using a lot more different things in the Cup. But there are still some solid choices as far as what everybody should have. Kind of in their squad, just so you know. So let's start off. We're going to use pvpoke.com. That's where we're running all these simulations at and everything. So first off, they have a ranking that they put out for the top Pokemon in the Twilight Cup currently. As you can see, Skuntank, Drapion. Venomoth is a new one that got added to this because of the rework to Confusion. It boosted it way high up in the rankings. It is one we'll look at, and there's a reason for that. It does cost quite a bit of Stardust to unlock a second move, but honestly, it's a very cheap option, and you'll see why whenever we get there. So starting off, I wanted to do Golbat. I feel like it is better than Crobat. There are some other options now that may be better than it, but it's still a solid performer because of its flying move. Now here we go, Golbat versus Toxicroak. Toxicroak is going to be very prolific in the league. I feel like it is going to be one you come up against quite a bit. So your options are Wing Attack, which is the better fast move. And then for charge moves, you can do Air Cutter, Shadow Ball, or Poison Fang. And I actually feel like Poison Fang may be a little better. It's going to hurt its rankings a little bit, but Poison Fang is still going to knock it out because you're doing so much damage every time with the fast move Wing Attack. So as you can see, down here is where we want to be looking. You can see, so Golbat's over on this side and Toxicroak's on this side. This runs all the simulations through all of it. Basically, the only time Toxicroak even stands a chance, and that means it's a 50-50 ball game at that point, is when Golbat has no shields and Toxicroak has 2 shields that it uses. So that is the only time Toxicroak stands a chance against this. So that is why I'm saying it is a solid pick for a budget option. It's only 25 candies to get. Zubat are fairly common. You can actually, I found quite a few Golbat in the wild. I just found a Zubat the other day that was pretty much a perfect level for the cup, and so I evolved it. I have plenty of candy in that. You can see that over here. And then that is why I am picking that. And then to unlock the second charge move is only 10,000 Stardust and 25 candy. So that's definitely worth it. There's no doubt in my mind that it is one that you want to run. The next one we're looking at is Alolan Raticate. And this one is against Venomoth, which is going to be one I think you will see quite a bit in the cup. So what I'm running on this Raticate is Quick Attack, Hyper Fang, and Crunch. You could also run Hyper Beam. I just didn't feel like that was a good option here. It will one-hit KO pretty much everything except for Ghost types in this. So it may be something you want to play with and kind of see where you're at. If we go down here, Raticate has a neutral matchup pretty much. If Venomoth has 1 shield, Venomoth has a 50-50 chance if they both use 2 shields. So there's that, but looks like Raticate wins as long as Venomoth only uses one or no shields. So that is what you want to look at as far as these rankings. Once again, this is a 25 cost to evolve. You're going to get 10,000 for a second charge move, 10,000 Stardust, and 25 candies. So that is another great budget option. It also, if you look at Raticate, it has a super high stamina or HP, 146 at this level. I also found a Raticate or actually a Rattata, a Alolan Rattata at a fairly good level, and it was pretty much perfect. I think I leveled it up 2 or 3 times to get it to the top that it could max out at. They're fairly common in foggy weather, or if it's partly cloudy, they're going to appear. Now, keep in mind, Alolan Raticate does have a severe weakness to Toxicroak because it is a normal and a dark type. So that is going to hurt it against that matchup. It will lose every time. Counter is going to demolish Alolan Raticate. So do not bring this against Toxicroak. Toxicroak will be prolific in the league, but this is something to just keep in mind that if they lead with a Toxicroak, you may want to leave Raticate till a little bit later in the match. Another one I'm going to mention is Venusaur. Venusaur, you may already have a Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, and if you do and it's low enough to be in the Great League, it is a great option because the second move on it is only 10,000 Stardust and 25 candies again. But do not run it with anything except for Frenzy Plant. And then the second move should be Sludge Bomb. Keep in mind, this is going to be, you're going to be getting neutral damage basically from Sludge Bombs or from other poison type moves. So that's why I'm mentioning it in here. I actually put it up against a Alolan Raticate that we just ran in the last one. And as you can see down here, it fares okay against it. In no shields options, it definitely wins. In 1v1, it loses slightly, and then in 2 shields, it wins every single time. Just keep these in mind whenever you're running this. Venusaur will also be fairly decent against any of your water types, except for if it has a poison typing as well. So your Tentacruel and Quillfish are going to be ones that it's going to struggle against because its attacks aren't doing super effective damage to it. Instead, they're doing neutral damage to it. Something to keep in mind there. Next up is Venomoth. I'm going to mention it. It is more expensive to unlock the second charge move and more expensive to evolve, but I feel like it's still worth it because Venonat is fairly easy to find in the wild, at least around here. I have a ton of candy for it, and so I was able to find one fairly easily within the first day or two of it kind of being relevant in the meta, and able to evolve one that was very close to the max without spending a whole bunch of Stardust on it. You don't necessarily... Here's the problem with this sim that I'm running right now. Poison Fang is a legacy move, and so you are not going to find that if you evolve one now. So that's something to keep in mind. Psychic is also a long charge move. So what I would suggest running is actually Silverwind, because it's a very fast bug attack move, charge move. So I would run that on there, and then possibly Psychic if you have to unlock it. Or if you're lucky enough to have a Poison Fang one, you're going to be a beast in this thing because it's going to take a ton of damage. Here you go against Toxicroak, which is going to be the main thing it's going to be up against. You can see it does a ton of damage. If we look at what the calcs are for confusion, you can see 40 damage every time it hits. It hits it 4 times, it's gone. So that's something to keep in mind. That's very similar to how Skarmory was able to take out Breloom so easily in the Boulder Cup, and a little tie over there from that, because Psychic moves are going to be double effective against fighting and poison. So 2-time super effective move against that. So it is going to do a ton of damage. I actually ran a calc earlier for Mr. Mime, which I do not suggest running because it is so fragile, but it demolishes Toxicroak in 3 fast attack moves. It is doing so much damage, and it's getting stab from those attacks, so that does quite a bit. The next, I do want to show Venusaur Venomoth, just to show of why I'm running Silverwind on this, because that is going to be one of the matchups. I think there will be a few more grass poison types in the meta now with the change to Razor Leaf. I think there might be a few more that get dropped in there. As you can see, Venusaur loses every time to Venomoth. So keep that in mind if you are running a Venusaur. And Venomoth is a very solid option, a little more expensive than some of the other ones we mentioned, but I think it is worth the Stardust and the evolve costs there. You're looking at 100 candies to evolve it and unlock a second move, and then you're looking at 50,000 Stardust to unlock that second move. So, and finally, I wanted to end on one that is borderline. I'm not quite sure on Tentacruel. I don't know. It's a tough one because if your opponent has shields, you're guaranteed to lose pretty much because it takes so long for it to get to its charge moves. Tentacruel, this sim is versus Ninetales. Now Ninetales is fairly fragile, so if we look down here at Ninetales versus Tentacruel, Tentacruel does actually win in most of these matchups, and so that's one thing to keep in mind. I mentioned Tentacruel because you can find it in the wild. You can also, I know there are quests for it right now, which will get it around a little over 1,000 CP is what I've been getting for those, and I actually have a few Tentacruel that I could roll with. You're going to want to run Poison Jab and Sludge Wave. The second charge move, you can go with Blizzard or Hydro Pump. Either one is kind of going to be a good option, I think, here. Pick your poison kind of thing. Either way, I think you're going to be okay. Just keep in mind if your opponent has shields, you're not going to want to lead with Tentacruel. That's the for sure thing. And you may want to leave it as your last Pokemon. Leave it on your team. Maybe like I watched Swag Tips and he was talking about it. Kind of a psychological thing, like they have to save a shield in order to deal with Tentacruel. Because if you don't have a shield, you are going to lose against Tentacruel because its damage does so much to pretty much everybody in the meta, no matter who it is. So just keep that in mind. Those are some options, budget options for the Twilight Cup. Definitely, this does not cover everything in the meta. The meta is a lot more complicated this time, and I just feel like these are some of the options to, at least if you need to fill a roster spot and something to counteract something else, this gives you at least an option and some thoughts of what to fill those with, so you don't just have a cookie cutter team that everybody has seen elsewhere and knows how to counter, basically. You want some options in there to do some other stuff. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. I do appreciate everybody that has. Hopefully you guys are prepping for the Twilight Cup, and let me know what you guys are running, what you guys are having success with, and any other thoughts you guys have on the Twilight Cup. Thanks again.